to join. Great. So thanks everyone for coming along this morning to the Camden Recycles Cups webinar. Hope you will learn more about our, well, you should be learning a lot more about our project today that we're delivering with Veolia. Just a bit of an outline on how we're going to run the session today. So we have Michael and Martina from Veolia who will be presenting two different parts to the session. First of all, Martina will be covering the sustainability revolution, the wider context of the climate crisis, why we're doing this project, why we need to be doing this project, and how participating in the project could help your business. Martina is a PR officer at Veolia and also a climate reality leader as trained by Al Gore. So it's really exciting to have Martina speak today. And this will be followed by Michael Hands at Veolia. He's leading on the project from their side, and he'll be talking about the ins and outs and how the project actually works, and a bit more about what will happen with the coffee cups that we do collect and do get recycled. So just a bit of background on who I am. I lead the Camden Climate Change Alliance. We're a membership network of over 400 organisations across the borough of Camden. We work on different collaborative projects and provide free support and consultancy services. I think most people on this call today are actually members already, but if you're not a member, please do, or you've seen us at a later date, please do get in touch and join us. Just a bit of housekeeping before I pass over to Martina. Yes, if people are able to just drop any questions they have in the chat function as we go through with the event today, that would be great. We'll pick up questions and answers at about 10:30. And yes, as I said, if you could keep your microphones off and your cameras off as well, that would be great, just so we know who's speaking. So without further ado, I'm going to pass over to Martina, please. And here is where we hope the technology all goes smoothly. Martina, I'll let you share your screen.
Thank you, Gemma. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for the kind introduction. I think you summarized it very well. I'll just maybe touch on the climate activism I do in my free time. I am a PR officer at Veolia, but when I do have the time, I like to educate the wider public on all things climate change. I was trained by Mr. Al Gore 2 years ago during their climate reality training. Two years ago. So I'm here today to maybe give you some wider context on why it is important to make your business more sustainable, why it can help your business grow and attract more customers, and ultimately, why do we find ourselves in the middle of a sustainability revolution. Hope that sounds good. I will share my screen now. Can you please confirm that you can see it well? Yeah?
It hasn't come up yet, Martina.
It hasn't. Okay. Not sure. Okay. Now it should work. Just 1 second, please. Okay. Now, hopefully.
Yes, that's great. That's great.
Okay, good. Very good. So let's begin. This photograph that we're currently looking at is called Blue Marble. It is the first picture of our planet fully illuminated, and it was taken by NASA's last Apollo mission in 1972 as the crew was traveling toward the moon. This photo has forever changed the way that humanity thought about our common home, the Earth. It reminds us that we are all connected and that our actions have an impact on our planet. The sky is not a vast and limitless expanse the way it appears to us as we stand on the ground and look up. In reality, there's just a thin shell of atmosphere surrounding the planet. In this photo, you can see how the sun shines over Earth's horizon through the two lowermost layers of the atmosphere, the troposphere and the stratosphere. Now, we are putting 152 million tons of man-made global warming pollution into the atmosphere every single day. That pollution, especially carbon dioxide or CO2, is building up and is trapping heat. Here is the basic science of global warming. Energy from the sun comes to Earth in the form of light. That energy is absorbed by the Earth and warms it. Some of that energy is then re-radiated from the Earth in the form of heat, and some of that outgoing heat is then trapped by the atmosphere, which is not a bad thing. It has kept our planet at a stable temperature for millions of years. Now, however, we have been thickening the atmosphere by filling it with heat-trapping pollution. More heat energy is trapped, and it is warming our planet at an unprecedented rate. There are many sources of human-caused global warming pollution, such as agricultural practices, industrial processes, transportation, and many, many other factors. But the main source and cause of the rising global temperatures we are seeing today is the burning of fossil fuels. Fossil fuel use and emissions have gone up dramatically since World War II. Today, even though the renewable energy sector is flourishing, fossil fuels unfortunately still provide more than 80% of the world's energy. As a result of this pollution being trapped in the atmosphere, global temperatures have risen dramatically. In this graph, you can see how the average global temperature has been rising since the Industrial Revolution in the 1880s. If you ever try talking to somebody who denies that global warming is man-made, just show him this graph. These are the facts. But how is the climate emergency linked to plastic pollution? Well, almost all plastic is derived from materials like ethylene and propylene, which are made from fossil fuels. The process of extracting and transporting these fuels and then manufacturing plastic creates billions of tons of greenhouse gases. So not only does it clog landfill sites and threatens our oceans and marine life, but it also accelerates climate change. In other words, the more plastic we make, the more fossil fuels we need, and the more we exacerbate climate change. Plastic is also one of the most persistent pollutants on Earth. Currently, we produce about 100 million tons of plastics per year, and this number is expected to triple by 2050. Plastics are everywhere now, from the top of Mount Everest to the bottom of Mariana Trench. In our oceans, which provide the largest natural carbon sink for greenhouse gases, plastic leaves a deadly legacy. We throw around 8 million tons of plastic waste into our oceans every year, and this number is expected to double by 2030. Plastic directly chokes and smothers a host of marine animals and habitats and can take hundreds of years to break down. As it does, sunlight and heat cause the plastic to release powerful greenhouse gases, leading to an alarming feedback loop. And as our climate changes, the planet gets hotter and the plastic breaks down into more methane and ethylene, which increases the rate of climate change and so only perpetuates the cycle. But how we manage all the plastic that then goes into circulation is equally troubling. Of the almost 2 million metric tons of plastic that the UK produces each year, which is roughly 37 kg per person, only around 10% gets recycled. The only way we can now address the problem is to curb the production of plastic, especially of the single-use variety, and to ramp up recycling. This is where Veolia comes into play. At Veolia, we recycle more than 350,000 metric tons of plastic waste per year. And Camden Recycles Cups is just one of the many projects through which we are trying to achieve a circular economy and therefore a more sustainable world for future generations to come. Talking about generations, an increasing number of people, especially millennials, are demanding businesses to be transparent and to care about social and environmental issues. Millennials, or Generation Y, are also willing to pay a higher price for products which are sustainable. It is important to note that they are currently also the largest generation of the world's population. According to Deloitte's Sustainable Consumer Research, 85% of consumers in the UK have adopted a more sustainable lifestyle last year during the pandemic, and a third of consumers specifically look for sustainable businesses when buying. In this graph, you can see that also 61% of all UK customers have limited their single-use plastic last year. By including sustainable practices within your corporate strategy, you can generate more profit whilst ensuring your positive impact on the environment and society. Making your business more sustainable and building a sustainable brand will ultimately help your business to be successful in the long term. This is why the Camden Recycles Cup scheme can be a big asset to your business, because you can either use it you can use it in multiple ways for better PR of your company, either on your social media channels, promoting your business as a sustainable business, or when you're a cafe, you can put a sticker on the window and thereby attract more customers from the street. So thank you so much for your attention. And now my colleague Michael will take over and answer all of the whys and hows about our project Camden Recycles Cups.
Excellent. Thank you, Martina, for that insight on climate change and sustainability revolution. And yes, as Martina said, I will be talking. Oh, am I sharing my right screen? Excellent. Yes, so I will be talking about what you receive from the free coffee cup recycling service, what happens to the coffee cups on their recycling journey, and I will end with some engagement tips for your business. So the first item you receive, if you're a large office, is a bespoke coffee cup recycling bin, specifically the Nexus 100 cup bin from Glasgow, which you can see on this slide here. This will enable your employees or visitors to place their paper coffee cups in the bin, making it easier for you to stack them prior to collection, which we'll get onto later. The second thing both cafes and offices will receive are free internal resources that will educate staff and visitors on how to separate paper cups effectively, including training on how to engage your staff to get the most out of the collection service. Here are a few examples of the internal resources you will receive. These include stickers that you can put on your windows and posters advertising the recycling of coffee cups in your business. We also have a PowerPoint presentation on how to maximize the coffee cup recycling service through staff engagement and instructions on how to separate the cups properly to ensure correct recycling when the cups are collected. The service will provide 6 months of free cup collections with a maximum of 1 collection per fortnight. This allows you to receive 13 collections in total. Your last collection must be completed by the 27th of September 2022. After this, you can still have a coffee cup collection service, but it will not be free. The bins will also be collected after the trial, and you will be required to buy a bin directly from Glasgow, which is the supplier. For collections, the price per box is £9.50. This includes collection, treatment, recycling, and the waste transfer notes. Your participation in the coffee cup recycling service will be promoted through the Camden Climate Change Alliance social media channels, Veolia, and partner networks. There is also an opportunity for you to be included in a case study about the recycling service, which will be promoted on the Camden Climate Change Alliance website. In addition, you will be involved in a larger national campaign called In the Loop, which will provide your business with even more exposure. Now, moving on to the logistics of the coffee cup service, there are a few things that you need to know. Firstly, not all coffee cups are made the same, and unfortunately, they can't all be recycled the same either. So our coffee cup recycling service relates to paper cups only, which are the ones typically found in larger stores such as Costa, Starbucks, and a few independent cafes as well. Cups which we do not collect are compostable cups. So unfortunately, if your business uses these cups, we will not be able to recycle them. The reason for this is the facility we send our cups to currently does not recycle compostable cups. They have to be sent to a specialist industrial composting facility instead. Now, the paper cups I'm talking about aren't actually all completely paper. They have a plastic lining on the inside, which is why they need to be separated from other materials. So for those of you that do use paper cups, here's a simple illustration of the whole journey a coffee cup goes through from customer to a new product. Now, as you can see, Veolia deals with the cup collection, the sorting and baling. We then send it on to a company called James Cropper, which develops into new materials and recycles it. I will now talk through each stage of the journey. So the first step is ensuring that your customers, staff, or visitors engage with the notices and posters you have up around advertising the new cups recycling service on offer. After correctly following the signage that indicates how to correctly dispose of the cup, this includes removing excess liquid, removing the lid and the stirrer, and inserting the cup using the bespoke cup recycling bins. This is all what we call contamination, and we definitely don't want that, as it can affect the quality of the recycling. You will then need to, once you have enough coffee cups, you will then need to stack them into cardboard box, which we will give instruction on how to do. You will need to ensure that the cardboard box is aligned with plastic to make it easier for us to bale them at a later process. Once full, you take the box shut, and you will need to arrange a collection by contacting Veolia customer service via either email or phone. We will then arrange a collection with DPD and give you your collection date and time. On your collection day, you must ensure that your boxes are ready for collection. Once the cups are out of your hands, the cups are sent to Veolia's pre-processing facility, where the cups will be removed from the box, debagged, and any extra additional contamination removed. We then sort and bale them into these large boxes that you can see by number 5. We then send the cups to a paper pulping facility run by James Cropper in the Lake District, where the fibers are separated from the polymer lining. The polymer lining is that plastic inlining on the inside of cups. This protects the fibers from the coffee and stops the cup falling apart. This is separated and diverted from landfill. The fibers are reused for a multitude of products, such as egg boxes, cup holders, paper bags, stationery papers. As you can see, James Cropper kind of makes these notes, which gives a bit of an illustration on what the product was before it became this notepad. Now that you understand what you will receive and what happens to your cups, let's move on to some tips that will help maximize the recycling. We want to maximize the number of people using the coffee cup recycling bin and the collection service in your office or cafe. To do this, we've put together some handy tips to encourage people to use the service. Firstly, be visual and raise awareness as much as possible through posters and stickers. If people don't know that you can recycle paper cups at your office or cafe, they won't. Obviously, also engage your staff as much as possible. Let them know why you're recycling the cups, the difference between paper and compostable cups, and how to separate them properly. Recycling correctly is important. Make it as easy as possible for everyone as well. This may relate to the location of your bin, when you collect the cups, where you store them prior to collection. And lastly, nudge behavior as much as possible. This could be using visual signs, as we mentioned before, or advertising awareness days such as Global Recycling Day, which this year is on the 18th of March. So I definitely think that would be a great opportunity for you to maximize recycling. Now, if you are interested in the Camden Recycles Cup scheme, the next steps will be filling out a form to register your interest. The form is pretty simple. It goes through what you receive again, contact details you need, and the details regarding your business. If you are interested, you can either email Camden Climate Change Alliance through this email, or once we send at the end of this presentation, we send you all the slides, you'll be able to click on it through this link. We will then contact you for the next steps to fill out. So thank you very much. We now have time for any questions or queries you might have. So if you've got any questions, obviously, yes, type them into the chat and I will look through them. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Martina. I can see somebody's typing in the chat at the moment. Yeah, please do drop your questions in there. I'm hoping that Michael's made it quite clear where everything goes, what can be going in there. A question I had, Michael, just whilst to get, whilst everyone has a bit of time to digest what we've just spoken about. If I have compostable cups and I'm not able to take part in this scheme, what can I do with them?
So yeah, there's a difference. Quite difficult thing to understand where to go. Most of the time, people dispose of them in general waste, and they will go to what's called an energy from waste facility, which basically means they burn it and then use that energy that they've got from burning to go into the national grid or landfill. Occasionally, they can go into, say, compostable like food waste bins, but double check with your recycling service. So either through North London Waste Authority, or if you've got a special company, double check with them.
Great, thanks, Mike. I can still see people typing in the chat. So to be eligible for the, just to explain, to be eligible for the project as well, you have to be based in Camden, the borough of Camden. You do have to be a cafe or an office as well. Okay, so I can just see a question from Katerina in the chat. So Katerina says, a service is fine if you're a cafe, larger company and a customer, but we are barristers' chambers and the inn looks after our refuge. So how could we get involved? So Mike, do you want to take answering Katerina's question there?
So you don't have to be a customer of Veolia initially to be on the service. Obviously, once the free trial ends and you go forward, you would then have to become a customer for us to continue doing the collections. But in terms of the chambers and an inn, I'm not sure, would we be able to offer that to them? I suppose it's outside the remit of a cafe and an office, but if there's an office within that building, I'm sure we'd definitely be able to provide that.
Yeah, I've attended. I've attended that location before, so we'll double check on that, Katerina, in terms of eligibility, because you should be eligible. I will double check on others, with others at Veolia. There was a little bit of confusion between whether you had to be a Veolia customer before, but we've clarified that issue. So we will look into that and get back to you. Does anyone else have any other questions to come through on either of the presentations, either what Martina said about the climate crisis itself, or anything on the coffee cup project? Okay, I'll just leave that one for a while. I've just got another clarification question, Mike. So with what's being recycled here, is it right? And you says in your slides, so the lids and the cups, they both are separated. So what actually gets what is actually picked up by DPD?
Yeah, so what we'll be collecting and putting into the box is simply just the paper cup with the plastic lining on the inside. And then what happens is that once we've baled them, we send them to James Cropper, and then that's where they separate the plastic lining from the fibers. Now, the fibers is the main material that they recycle, which they create into additional materials such as I said, egg boxes, paper notes, stationery. While the plastic lining, I think at the moment James Cropper is exploring the possibilities of recycling them, but currently I think they use them again for like an energy from waste facility where they use that to run their recycling plant. So they burn all the plastic lining with other materials, and then that creates the energy that they need to use to run the recycling facility. Oh, I've seen we've got another question from Gareth, which is, as a theatre rather than a cafe, would we be eligible for the trial? So again, I suppose we would have to look at it at ad hoc basis, depending on your area. If it's more like, I suppose, as it's similar to an office kind of environment, we might be able to make allowances for that. I would have to double check with customer services for that.
I think, Mike, just to add with the theatre, normally there is kind of a cafe or a, cafe type restaurant, well, not restaurant, but hospitality part of the theatre, isn't there? So we may be able to have you involved. I mean, I don't know, Gareth, in terms of what waste do you produce? Do you produce a lot of coffee cups? Because what we're trying to do is obviously capture as many as possible. And if you have the throughput, and if there's actually a stream of coffee cups that is needing to be disposed of at the theatre, certainly something that we can double check with. I think previously it's always been kind of a target of cafes because that was quite public, and there's obviously a lot of throughput, and then offices, obviously there's a lot of a lot more people using coffee cups going to the office. So yeah, so Gareth, we will get back to you on that aspect. I can see there's another question from Gareth on the Glasden bins, and actually, Michael, I just wanted to clarify that as well, because I'm not sure because the bins are actually part of the project. I'm wondering if people who are participating in the project could actually keep the bins after, but we might have to clarify that. I'm not quite sure, but anyone additional who is not part of the project would have to purchase them.
I do have the price. So for simply just the bin, it's £265. And then you can get like signage on the back and like foam graphics, and they're roughly about £140 each. But yeah, we will double check with the if the bins get collected afterwards. And then I've seen can the lids be recycled? So this is dependent on the type of plastic that it's made out of. So sometimes you get quite a cheap plastic, which is made of a mixture of materials, and they won't be recyclable. So they just have to go into general waste. While if it's like more of a sturdy, hard plastic, which looks like it's made out of one material, you will be able to recycle that. To check that, you just need to see what code is on the plastic lid. So usually it's like a triangle recyclable logo with the arrows, which I'm pretty sure we all understand, and there'll be a number on the inside. And all I'd recommend is going to the North London Waste Authority A to Z material search. I'll put a link in this chat now, and it will give you all the codes. So let me just get that website up, and I will send the link. But yeah, it's very dependent on the type of plastic that the lid is made out of. So yeah, that link that I just sent in is also just a great resource to check if you're never sure what materials can be recycled in general. A to Z, they cover basically most things, and I found a fair few surprising items I didn't know weren't recyclable. They were recyclable, so I definitely recommend checking that out as well.
Thanks, Mike. Great. Hope that helps, Katerina. It can be quite
yeah, I agree.
Minefield of the different the different companies, the different waste streams as well. So are there any last questions around this project or in terms of what can be recycled as part of this project, how it works? I'll leave it open for another couple of minutes, and then we might close the session. So, but do feel free to contact myself afterwards if you've got any other questions. Like I said, it was really useful this morning to have a couple of the questions come through that we will go away and clarify in terms of who can participate and the bins at the end of the project. So we'll definitely come back with clarifications on on that. Also going to say, if anyone is interested in other kind of circular economy projects or other projects the CCA runs in collaboration, do let me know. There's a lot going on in the borough right now. I guess another thing to add would be with the Camden Climate Change Alliance, we do have the climate pledge. And if you are a signatory to our pledge, participating in this project would also help fulfill your waste prevention actions and ambitions around that theme of the pledge. So it does all link together. No worries, Katerina. Thank you. I'm glad it was informative and useful. I think we'll close now in about, I'll just leave it another minute just in case anyone has any burning last questions. But then I just hope everyone has a very nice day, and yeah, do get in touch with us about this or any other projects in future. Okay, I think we'll bring it to a close there then. Thank you so much, Martina. Thank you so much, Michael. It's been great to have you here and learn a lot more about where things go and how it all works. And thank you for everyone who's joined us today. Like I said, we will circulate the slides or answer your Q&A, your questions that came up. And we'll also make this presentation available to others who weren't able to attend in person today. So look forward to most of you being part of the project, we hope. Just to say, we do need to get this project up and running with bins coming out this month as well. So looking to have the final participants confirmed as soon as possible. And yeah, so have a lovely day, everyone. And thank you so much. I will see you soon.
Thank you for having us, Gemma.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.